Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And as you can tell from the title, we're just getting into the thick of it. Welcome to season 3. If you're from season 2 or 1, I'm so happy you're here. It has been a long ride. It's been rough. I know I haven't uploaded an episode in 11 months, I think, and I'm not proud of that by any means, but the last year has really been fucking crazy. As you can see by the title, 2 totaled cars, fucking 3 apartments, getting diagnosed with ADHD, and that's not even all of it. So we're going to dig into it in this episode. I'm just going to give you guys like where I've been type of episode, and then hopefully from there we'll move on to other things. This is a mental health podcast, and it's just supposed to be a safe space to destigmatize mental health. And you know, we're just going to draw attention to the fact that shit's hard, and we can acknowledge that, and we can still progress and move forward and commit to growth while admitting and acknowledging that it's fucking difficult, because this last year has been very difficult. And I'm a little embarrassed for having not uploaded episodes in 11 months. I feel disappointed in myself. It's been hard, but even right now, I'm having a hard time not giving myself a hard time for that. But, you know, if I can serve as anything to any of you as an example of shit fucking happens, whatever, we move on. I can't do anything about it. I can't go back and upload episodes in the past. And so I want to, going forward, make a commitment to myself to try to commit to just doing things that I fucking like. I feel like lately I've been struggling to get motivated to do the things that I actually enjoy. And I want to ask myself, like, what the fuck's going on there? I take dance classes at Millennium. I do singing lessons with one of my clients. I write as well. And I've just been I've been struggling to get myself to do those things. And I'll let you guys, in on more of the details, but I've been like in limbo. Like, things in my life have been very unstructured and uncertain for longer period of time than I expected. And so, and especially being somebody who has ADHD and was just diagnosed in August, structure is really what I live by. It's hard for me when things are not structured. It feels like when the structure falls apart, everything else falls apart. And so change is difficult for me, always has been. I'm not going to let that stop me from change. Change is good. Change is hard. It's really hard for everyone, but there are a lot of things. There's a lot of shit I want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do in life. And so I don't want to let these things prohibit me from doing the things I want to do. And so whatever, 11 months passed. That's in the past. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to start season 3, and we're going to keep fucking chugging. But let me give you guys a little bit of a background about where the fuck I've been and what the fuck's been going on, because it's been chaotic as hell. And it kind of feels like, okay, is this just like struggling in my 20s, or is this just like life, or do things ever stop happening? We'll see. So far, for the last 12 months, they don't stop happening. But, nonetheless, we move forward. So I'm going to start chronologically, like just telling you where I've been. I think the last episode from season 3 dropped in December. So from then, obviously, new year started. I was planning on taking like maybe 2 months off of the podcast, getting a little bit of a refresher. I had plans to have guests and all these things. And then just shit kept happening. I feel like most of it started in February when my roommate had decided to move out. She was going to move in with her boyfriend, which is no big deal, whatever. But she owned a lot of the furniture in the apartment. And so I ended up having to furnish like the whole apartment when I was not in a financial position to do so. So that was pretty stressful. And I feel like it's what started the snowball. I'm not blaming her by any means. This is just like life and how it happened. So that started the snowball. And then I had another roommate move in March. But while this was happening in February, my car, my Toyota Camry, my 2005, my baby girl from when I was 16, shit out on me. It just was like fucking smoking under the hood, took it to get it fixed, whatever the fuck. They were like, listen, it's going to be probably over $1,000 or so to get it fixed. But this car is not worth $1,000. It's like genuinely worth like maybe $1,000, $800, whatever. I sell the car to this fucking guy. I went private to sell it. Should have just fucking sold it to the dealership, but whatever. I decided to sell it on my own. That was proven to be more stress than it was worth. I ended up getting less money than the dealership was offering me. This guy honestly kind of fucked me over. I like said $1,000. He was like, yeah, sounds good. I filled out all the paperwork like on the back of the title. And then he fucking gave me $800 in cash. And I was like, I said $1,000. He's like, oh, well. And I could have like fought it, right? Like I could have taken the title back, ripped it up, whatever. But then I would have had to go back to the DMV, which if you guys know anything about the fucking California DMV, it's a shithole. I would have had to have a new title printed of the car, and it just like genuinely was not worth it. It was not worth $200. I would have had to like probably fucking pay to have another title. It just whatever. He'll get his karma. Not from me, but from somebody else, hopefully. Pretty quickly after I sold him this car, he got a ticket on it. The DMV hadn't processed yet the fact that I had sold it to him. So that ticket's in my name. I've been working like a dog since fucking May, I think, is when he got the ticket to get it off my record. The ticket has just accumulated a bunch of late fees at this point, and I'm like trying to figure out, get my fucking copy of the title, give it to whoever. It's just, that's been one thing that's been bugging me, but that's not even like the half of it. Whatever. Hope he gets his karma. I digress. So I get a bunch of new furniture. I get a new roommate. And then around March, I bought a new car. I bought a Jetta. I was happy. My monthly was pretty low. It was definitely a stressor. I mean, I was trying to get excited about it, and I was. The Jetta was great. But, you know, it's a lot to take on new monthly bills that I hadn't had previously. So a lot going on. Money was tight at this point in time. And so May rolls around, and I had made 2 payments on this car, and I totaled it. Whatever. I was in downtown LA. Whatever the fuck. That place is fucking cursed. I'll say that much. So I totaled the car. It's fine. Whatever. I had full coverage, so it wasn't a big deal. My insurance has skyrocketed since then. That claim is still open. That's frustrating to me, but whatever. So we keep moving. We keep trying to get our shit together. We're like, fine. So I go without a car for like 2 months at this point. I'm like, no worries. I'm like, let me live the walkable life. I'm like, this is kind of lit, right? I don't have a car payment. I don't have a car insurance payment. And I was taking the metro, which where I was living in LA, it's not that sketchy. Depending on where you live, I've heard it can be kind of ghetto, but where I was at, it was fine. I was like literally one stop to get to work, and it was fun. So I did that for a couple months, and then around July, I bought my CRV. I was so happy. I am still so happy with this car. So I got a Honda. I'm lit. I'm like, life is good. I have the car I want. It has the interior that I want, the specs I want, whatever. So I'm excited at this point. But my friend at this point in time had, sometimes I feel like I get too comfortable in the chaos. And when things calm down, maybe I fuck it up. Oh, who's to say? Well, okay. So my friend, I'm saying that in quotation marks if you're not watching the video. They had a room opening up at their apartment, and they lived super close to me. So my commute to work was going to be fine, but their apartment was way nicer, and the monthly was the same because they had rent control from COVID. So I was going to be paying the same in rent, but I would have my own bathroom. I was going to have central AC, fucking dishwasher, in-unit laundry, parking, fucking balcony, like a pool, all this nice shit. So I was like, all right, fuck. Like, you know, my lease was ending. So I was like, okay, yeah, like let me see what's going on here. Not that I didn't like my apartment. It just was like, it just didn't have central AC. It was really hot and like no dishwasher. I probably should have just fucking stuck it out looking back, but whatever. We live and we learn. And this is a friend that I was pretty close to for about a year. So I do feel like everything happens for a reason. I'm grateful I moved in with them because I was really able to see who they really are, and pretty quickly discovered that they're not who I thought they were. And, you know, let's just say betrayed me pretty badly. Maybe we'll get into that in another episode. That's going to take a whole own episode in and of itself. But it turned out being really nasty and really ugly and unsafe. And so I ended up having to move out pretty quickly. I was only there for a month. And while they had gone on a trip away for the weekend, I moved out while they were gone. So I just got out while they were gone, didn't say nothing. I was like, this is not safe anymore. So whatever. That was fine. It cleared itself out. I moved out. I'm safe now. I'm staying with a friend. So, yeah, nothing to worry about there. But it was just a lot. It was like boom, 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 one thing after another. I'm super grateful for the friend I'm staying with. I'm very safe, taken care of, and I've been trying to find a new place and new roommates and get a new place to move into, which has also been a struggle. It's really hard in places like LA where like there are a bunch of group chats and stuff where it's like girls looking for roommates. However, it can also be like a lot of people who don't have a good credit score or are flaky or whatever the fuck. And so, it's just sketchy. It's just strangers. So that has been a long ass thing going on as well, where whatever. I'm trying. I did end up taking a trip to New York in October, which I was like thinking about canceling because of all this shit. I'm super grateful I still took it. I really do like New York, and I would like to move there eventually. So I'm not mad that I took the trip to New York by any means. I think it's just like, it's just been a lot. And, you know, with the friend stuff, I'm grateful that it happened so that I was able to see who this person really is. I'll say that much. So around August time when I had moved in, I had started going back to therapy. I felt like I was struggling with fucking everything. I do think that the ADHD for me was manageable throughout my life because of the organization and structure of school. I was never like outstanding at school, but I was always like A's and B's and able to get by. And I think it's because school was so structured. And so it was easier for me to, when somebody's telling me what to do, when somebody's saying like, show up here at this time and do this in whatever, that was like easier for me to follow. Once I got out of college about 2 years ago, I feel like things were kind of hard for me to navigate. And I was like, I'm my own boss and I'm managing my own life. And especially with the things that I want out of life, I want to work for myself. I don't want to work for a company. I want to have control over my own schedule. And a lot of that stuff can be kind of hard when you have ADHD to like get the structure side down. For me anyway, structure is really big. So around August, I was going back to therapy, and that's when I was diagnosed with ADHD. I had like kind of a shitty experience there where I had seen a psychiatrist and then was dismissed pretty quickly, and she kind of gave me a 20-minute appointment. Basically said that since I got good grades in you know, middle school, high school, and since I have been promoted at work, that I didn't meet her criteria, and like, you know, she would maybe see me in a few months. So that was useless. And I'm trying to do all these things while I'm still on my parents' insurance because I have like a year and a half left being on their insurance. So all that to say, okay, so that was kind of shitty with the psychiatrist. After that, I was able to see another psychiatrist pretty quickly after that, and she was much more attentive and listening and just fucking, I don't know. I felt heard. It's hard with the mental health industry in general to find providers that you feel like you connect with and are able to understand you and your issues. There's a lot of things we don't know, you know, about mental health. So that plays a factor as well. I didn't know, upon obviously now doing more research, I learned that we don't have a lot of research on ADHD in women at all. We didn't even know that they could have it until like the 90s because we just thought it was like rowdy boys. So that part was obviously frustrating to me, but then I was able to understand better, like, oh, obviously this girl dismissed me very quickly. She's just going off of these like rowdy boys, whatever the fuck, old ass criteria where we studied men. So all that to say, the second provider, she was way more helpful. We talked about work and when I was working at an architecture firm, and probably part of why I hated it so much. I didn't even think of this till she asked me, but I did used to pace a lot at work, or I would take a lap around the building, or I had a desk that would go up and down, and I would move it up and down like probably every 15 minutes. Fidgety, just unable to sit still, squirmy. And I didn't realize that was, I don't know. I didn't know that was like a problem. I mean, all my life, people have been like, hey, you probably have ADHD. And I kind of was like, it's fine if I do. It's fine if I don't. I feel like I'm managing it. And now I feel like I got to the point where I was like, all right, I can't do this on my own anymore. So, yeah, she was helpful. We also talked about ADHD is it's neurological, so it has to show up in childhood. And so we talk about childhood and behavioral stuff when you were a kid. And when I was in kindergarten, I was checked 3 times for my hearing because the teacher thought that I was like deaf, like, which I'm not. I literally just like wasn't able to focus and pay attention. So obviously looking back, it's kind of funny, but definitely these little things here and there where it's like, oh, okay, I could see how you might have been struggling. So unfortunately, at this point now, I still haven't been able to try medication. Even after being prescribed, there's been like a fucking worldwide shortage, whatever the fuck. So every pharmacy that I've tried to go through doesn't have it. And so that's been problematic. That doesn't seem like anything that's going to be going away anytime soon. Pretty much anyone I know with ADHD said it's really hard to get on the medication or at least stay with it or get your prescription when you need it. It's a controlled substance as well. So either way, it's nice to know that I have it and have a diagnosis and kind of still work on structure or other things that I can do to mitigate and manage it. I do feel like lately, as I mentioned earlier, I've been struggling to get motivated to do the things that I like to do. It's like, I really do. That's what I mean with, so I moved out of that apartment and I'm staying with a friend in a studio apartment. It's a short-term situation until I can find something else. And that has been difficult for me. And like the sense of like lacking structure. I'm not at my own place. I'm also living out of a suitcase. And so everything feels very temporary and I don't feel like I have a home. And my friend has been more than accommodating. But I mean, just, staying at their place has lasted longer than I thought it was going to. And so that's been difficult as well. And I think that like when big things happen to me, like having to, furnish an entire apartment or totaling my car, not having a car, or, not having an apartment and kind of being in these in-between places, I tend to put everything in my life on pause. I'm like, everything stop. And from there, I just want to focus on the one big thing and I'll drop everything else. And I mean that like so deeply with like, when I'm just vibing, like I do my nails every 2 weeks. Ever since I've, when I total my car, when I do this, I drop that. I'm like, I can't, it's like something that takes me 3 hours every 2 weeks, but like, no, even my workout, routine. It's like hard for me to stay in that routine because I'm like, oh, while I'm working out, I could be shopping for a new car. I could be shopping for furniture. I could be, looking for a new apartment. And so even like I said, I was going to cancel that New York trip because it's just hard for me to stick to these things. And it sucks. I definitely have realized it lately with all the shit that's been thrown at me. And I'm now aware that I do it. So it's easy, hopefully now I can work on it. Now I can be more aware of like, okay, when shit happens in my life, I don't want to put everything on pause just because there's shit going on. Because shit's always going to happen in life, right? But also it's like you have to give yourself a little bit of grace because a lot has been happening. Totaling your car is a big deal. And I don't have any family out here. I'm not from LA. So I don't just have, a parent who can jump in and give me their car or help me out or whatever. That's a big difference with not having a life partner anymore. You're just kind of on your own. So it's hard to find the happy medium of go easy on yourself. You've had a lot going on. And all right, we got to be disciplined and keep shit together. So that's been difficult for me. Even just little things that I like to do. Even, honestly, at this point, just texting back, my mental capacity is really at like, it's all the way, it's just full. And so I've not been responding to texts. I haven't been calling my parents back or my best friend from home. It's just like, it's hard for me to like get on this shit and I'll just let weeks pass. I'm like, fuck, like, I can't let this one thing consume my whole life. There are other things, just because you totaled your car, you still got to go to work. Staying at my friend's house 2 weeks ago, we had a house fire. Obviously not funny. It was scary, but we were home. Everything is fine. The dogs are fine. So that's good. But it was like, fuck. Like I can't catch a break. Like everything keeps fucking happening, right? Like boom, 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 one thing after another. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. So again, I'm feeling very lucky because for the shit that's happened to me, I have a really good support system right now. I feel like in the last year, I've also really downsized my friend group and let go of a lot of people who just were no longer serving me, or maybe we outgrew each other or whatever it may be, but it feels a lot healthier. And I feel like my group has gotten smaller and much more selective of people who are, equivalently pushing me to be better and I'm pushing them to be better. And I think that's really exciting. Like I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. It feels honestly calm. I feel like my life was a little hectic before and I contributed to that as well. So you have a say in your environment. So I'm grateful that I made that change and was able to take accountability for like, hey, I play a role in this. But yeah, I think also when you go through shit and you have to lean on other people more than maybe you feel like they have to lean on you, you do kind of see who people really are and how they show up for you. And I do feel like, going through that shit this past year, I was kind of able to see like, okay, certain people show up for me who I didn't expect and I didn't really even think to ask. And then other people who I'm like, wait, like we're pretty close friends, we're not showing up for me. So it all happens for a reason. We live and we learn, we get stronger, whatever the fuck. That's my motivation Monday for the fucking day, I guess. But yeah, so I've been trying to find the structure again, trying to find the motivation to do the things that make me happy, even while I'm in this, limbo state of like uncertainty. Trying to find structure. So trying to still keep my workout program or still trying to get to dance class on Saturday, still trying to make sure I'm singing and writing in my free time and doing the things I like to do while also cutting out time to look for a new place and find roommates and stuff. But I get in this like all or nothing mentality where it's like, if I'm doing anything other than work, something to sustain my life, like eating or keeping me alive, or looking for an apartment, I feel like I'm not being productive. And it's not healthy. It's not productive to behave that way. So lately, I do feel like I've done a better job of balance, just trying to find the balance of like, you can go to yoga and you can look for apartments in the same day. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing and do your job at the same time. So it's all about balance. And for me, it's all about structure. So I'm trying to find and make the structure where there is none. It's still difficult. So that's kind of what I'm working on this week is like having blind faith that I will figure this out. Shit will figure itself out. Not letting life shit get in the way and really not shitting on yourself for, not showing up in the way for yourself that you thought you were going to. I'm trying not to be hard on myself for not releasing episodes for 11 months. Oh, well, it happened. We're here. There are ways that I've invested in my podcast since then. I got another mic, so I'm planning on having guests on season 3, and I'm excited for that. So it's been a lot. Even just finding like a little place to like set up my shit at when I'm not in my home. And so I feel like my equipment is taking up space in someone else's home. And so it's hard. I'm grateful for the friend I've been staying with has been very supportive. Even today as I record, they asked me, they were like, do you want me to get out of the house? Do you want me to, let you have time to do and record an episode? So I feel grateful to have people around me who are pushing me to be better. I feel like sometimes I was spending a lot of time with people who I knew weren't at my level, but I saw the potential in them. And so I was like, oh, maybe I can rub off on them. Maybe they can be better. I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I want to be taught. And I think now that I've really downsized my friend group, the friends that I have and the people that I'm spending time with, they teach me. They make me want to be better. I'm learning from them and hopefully they're learning from me as well. Hopefully it's mutual though, Like I feel like I was spending time with people where it wasn't mutual and it was like me trying to like guide a horse to water that maybe did want to be guided, but like still it just wasn't even. And now it's like it feels mutual and it feels like I'm having these conversations and I'm pushing myself and I'm learning from them. I'm being inspired by my friends who are also pushing themselves to do new things and they've also been going through their own shit, but just seeing them endure it. And, a lot of people would give up or go home or call it quits or be like, fuck, I'll just move back. So grateful to still be here. I feel like if you would have told me where I would be a year ago, that you would just be in LA with no apartments, couch surfing, I'd be like, what the fuck? If you would have told me that before I moved to LA, I'd be like, what the fuck? Whatever. We figure it out. Truly, there was advice that someone gave me. It sounds so stupid, but it's really stuck with me. They were like, when you have to figure it out, you will. When there's no plan B, there's no other option but to literally figure it out, you will. And it's so true. It's like when there's no choice but to sink or swim, you'll swim. And I had a client the other day. She used to live in New York. She obviously lives out here now, but she was telling me about how when she first moved to New York and then when she came back the second time and this and that, her dad wouldn't co-sign on an apartment with her because he was mad at her. And she literally asked her boss to co-sign on her apartment with her. And he did. And I was like, I love that story because, again, a lot of people would just give up. They just be like, all right, fuck, I can't do it. They won't co-sign. But like, she fucking figured it out. She fucking put herself out there and was like, fuck it. If you won't, someone else will. And I don't know. I like that because it's so true. If you have the desire to go out, to chase after things, to go take on LA, if you're from a small town, to take on New York, you absolutely 100% can do it. Just know if there's a fucking will, there's a way. And you got to just be determined as fuck to figure it out. And you will. So shit we're working on this week, like I said, just doing more of what you actually enjoy doing. Even if you're having trouble getting the task started, reminding yourself how good you feel after. I don't know why it's been difficult for me to even go to yoga. I love yoga. Always feel so much better after I leave. But just the act of getting myself there has been hard. So I'm trying to like take it one step at a time. For me, that's getting dressed in my yoga clothes, getting dressed in my lifting clothes, getting dressed in what I would wear to dance. And then, all the chips kind of slowly start to fall in line. And I tell myself in my head, all right, get dressed. And if you still don't want to go, you don't have to go. Almost every time after I get dressed, I end up going. But if you struggle with that, I'm right fucking there with you. Just fucking getting tasks started is hard for me, but that's the shit we're working on. And reminding yourself how good you'll feel after. So shit I'm wondering this week is why? Like, why do we struggle to spend more time on what we actually enjoy? I'm reflecting on this and I'll probably tap on it next week more so, but I feel like for me and my close friend, we were kind of talking about this and we were like, I feel like I'm distracting myself. I feel like I'm distracting myself with other shit because I'm afraid to do the things I actually enjoy, such as this podcast, such as music, such as whatever it may be. I'm kind of making up excuses, and procrastination to a certain degree is a level of self fucking what the fuck. What the fuck's it called? I don't want to call it a coping mechanism or a defense mechanism, maybe? A form of like fucking, what's it called when you're like trying to fucking stop yourself? I can't fucking remember for life of me. This is going to kill me. I'm going to think of it as soon as I end this episode. Whatever. It's a form of like, I don't want to say a defense mechanism, but it's a form of like self-failure, manipulation. Fuck. You guys know what I'm fucking trying to say. So I'm going to stop trying to think of it. Enter the definition, the word, standing in your own way and like manipulating the situation so that you are not successful. Self-defeating? This is going to fucking kill me. Okay, whatever. Manipulating things so that they don't work out for you when you don't even know that you're doing it. Anyways, all that to fucking say, I feel like that's what I'm doing sometimes, is I'm standing in my own way and I am procrastinating to a degree at which I'm really just standing in my own way and prolonging the period where I actually have to face the hard shit. So that's the shit I'm wondering this week. So if any of you guys are fucking struggling with that, or you feel like procrastination is difficult for you, or just getting tasks started, even when you genuinely enjoy the task, I'm right there with you. We all have it. We all struggle with it. You can fucking comment below. Let me know what it is you're struggling to get yourself started to do. And, we'll bask in it together. We'll talk about how the shit's fucking hard together, and we're going to fucking do it anyways, even when it's hard, even when we don't want to. So that's the shit I'm working on this week. Thank you again for joining me, for being here on season 3. I'm so happy to be back. And anybody who's come back from season 1 or 2, I'm so grateful that you're listening. This podcast is super important to me. And this is one of those things that I'm trying to get motivated to do because I do love it. And I appreciate you guys. So that is what I got for you. I will see you on the next one because this shit is fun.